Welcome back to Coffee and Candor. This is Ross.
This is Brandy, and I just threw him under the bus.
Amber.
And Chris, and this is brought to you by WorldSocialNet.com, WorldSocialNet.com, connecting the world.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Come on.
Because you're a douchebag.
Come on.
Okay.
And Brandy's a douchebag.
Yeah.
.com.
WorldSocialNet.com.
Yeah. Oh, my God. All right.
I was about to say, if you don't start talking, I'm going to take it over and just say whatever I know.
Brandy and I watched a documentary last night. The title of it was Athlete A.
It's on Netflix, and it's not like if you're into documentaries, it's only like, what, hour?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 40
So
minutes.
it's not like a huge commitment of hours and days, and, but it was very informative. It was really well done.
And I remember when all this went down,
Yeah.
but wow, watching that documentary.
This is the first
was
I
insane.
have heard of it.
I remember when it went down, because it kind of exploded in like 2017, 16.
17, yeah.
And I heard about it on the news, and the reason I heard about it was in the Ehlers-Danlos groups, because all of a sudden everybody was searching what is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Right.
And
It was like trending.
and people were like, what the fuck? And it was because of that. So that's how I heard what I heard. And so I knew it was a thing. I did not realize it was such a big, how many people were affected by it.
So tell everybody
what it boils down to.
No, not what it boils down to.
What it is.
Expand it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Chris is a douchebag too.
Everybody knows that, though. I mean, that's not novel
news.
information.
So anyway, it has to do with the U.S. USA Gymnastics.
Yeah, USAG is what it was.
Yeah.
Which are the people that are they're the national team, that they're the Olympic gymnasts.
Right. Are these people that have already started training for the Olympics, or they're competing to get into
both.
This is basically this people that ran this gym were the selection committee. They sat on the selection committee, so they watched them, trained them, then ran the U.S.
So they weren't allowed to go to any doctor but this guy?
Well, that was
they
the
pretty much
team
owned
doctor.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't allowed.
was the team doctor.
Here's something that I thought was
I wouldn't think a team doctor would be like down there checking shit.
Well, he's the team gynecologist too.
Yeah.
their parents, like when they were on this ranch for weeks and weeks and months at a time,
weren't allowed to visit.
They weren't allowed to call. They weren't allowed to visit.
That should say there's a problem.
Yeah, that would have thrown alarm bells to me in the
That's
first
a little
place.
culty to me.
Well, I mean, y'all.
Well, the
But you know, some
ranch,
of these parents would do anything to get
for their
kid
kid
up
to be in the
there.
Olympics.
the ranch was Bella Caroli
And his wife, Marta.
and his wife Marta.
You know what?
Bella Caroli has been like the person for
Gymnasts.
Well, and to be fair, I'm sure that these, because I've seen how crazy these fuckers are. I'm sure they're probably like a little sexual assault to get into the Olympics. Seems like a reasonable price.
When the parents found out that was not the attitude.
Yeah, no, that
Really?
wasn't the case. No,
But they really, okay, first of all, you have to understand, like, they felt like their kids were in good hands. I mean,
and were being taken
is there,
care of.
I mean, in the sports world, is there a higher honor than the Olympics? No. That's like, so everybody, that automatically sort of gave it an umbrella of legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, so people, they had faith.
Well, and I mean, the
obviously
Carolis
misplaced.
have been set up as the
authority. I mean,
Olympic
they had,
team for
they
decades.
defected from Russia back when I was
Romania,
which was part of the USSR. But when I was like
it was in the
little
70s.
bitty girl,
It was in the 70s.
So that was back when they were still pumping their athletes full of the steroids.
And that's the thing.
were
In
very
part of this
abusive in
documentary, they go back. They go back and they talk about what was her Nadia Comaneci.
yeah, Nadia Comaneci.
She won. You know, she won gold in the 75, 76.
It was early 70s.
something.
Because here's what I thought was interesting.
And they showed how they did back then.
Yeah.
It was very.
But do you
Regimented.
tell me what in the picture you think?
Well, Russians don't have a lot of flexibility traditionally. So
When you think of an Olympic gymnast, paint me a word picture of what this person looks like.
muscular, trim.
Muscular, trim, short. Are we talking? What kind of?
Like,
Yeah, no, that's an
I want to
important
know.
question.
Do you
What type of gymnastic event?
like
person.
Yeah, I understand that, but
like a female gymnast?
Broad shoulders, flat chest, narrow hips,
Big ass.
muscular.
Do
More
they look
generic.
sexually mature?
No.
They look like little kids, right?
Okay, here's the thing. I thought that had always
Until
been the way.
1971,
Until Nadia
2, 3, 4.
Comaneci One in the early 70s, they showed films going back of like Olympic gymnasts.
And
they
they
looked
were
like
all
real
adult women.
They looked like grown women. And then suddenly, with this win from Nadia...
I don't know. That gymnast from UCLA that did the flying splits, she looked like a real woman.
Okay, but
So most of the time they're flat-chested.
they have no body fat.
And most of the time, aren't they
and
really
even-
young, too?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
13,
Yeah.
14, 15, yeah.
Yeah, they start them when, these kids start training when they're 3 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now,
Yeah, but
They didn't
that
use
wasn't always... That's been the case so long that's just our perception. It wasn't
Right.
always that way. And that new perception started with Bela
Well,
Karolyi and his wife. And I think that's very important
yeah.
because they're trying to pretend like...
Like they didn't have anything to do with it?
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And, I don't...
apparently,
They
okay.
were so iron control over everything, I don't believe for a minute this could have went on and them not know it.
And I mean, one extent, if you look very superficially, the Carolis and some of the other people involved weren't that bad if you look very superficially. But you also, as they interview more of these girls, you get the sense that there was a lot of emotional as well as physical abuse. Not necessarily sexual,
Right.
but a lot of emotional abuse.
I mean, we're talking about
you're
girls
fat,
that
you're
have
this,
no
you're that,
body fat. They are so lean,
That
and
they've
they
lost
train
their
so
period.
much they don't have their periods, and
Yeah,
they would tell them
exactly.
they're fat cows.
Well, I
know.
think that a lot of, and I'm not defending this, so please don't take it this way, but I think a lot of these disciplines that require an exceptional amount of self-control and self-discipline, that's kind of how they get it.
Oh yeah,
Instead of impressing upon them whatever, they do it in a
it is almost like a cultish level
negative
of
reinforcement way.
and it becomes almost a cultish level of
Yeah,
control,
yeah.
which I think explains how this started and how this happened. Because
they knew it was, going into it. I think the parents knew it was okay. This is very regimented. This is this
hard.
But this is how you get to the Olympics,
and this is the only path.
and this is the only path to the Olympics.
What's wrong?
Fucking Charlie's dumbass keeps walking under my chair and then walking
He's
over here.
just
And
staring at the...
I just wish his blind ass would go lay down.
But that was they were. That's how you get to the Olympics. That's the only way.
It was
you
a
can get to the
ranch in
Olympics.
Texas that they ran, and that's where they did all their training. This guy was also this Larry Nasser. He was also
Is that the doctor?
That's the
Okay.
team doctor.
yeah.
He has been around was around this for 27, 28 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, okay, things crazy shit. Like, all right, we've already talked about there's an Ehlers-Danlos connection. Which, if you're not, I mean, I have Ehlers-Danlos. It's a thing. Okay. Ehlers-Danlos becomes Ehlers-Danlos and not this other condition when there starts to be problems. So, like,
What is the other
Okay,
condition?
well, joint hypermobility syndrome or benign hypermobility syndrome simply means that your skin is stretchy, your ligaments and your connective tissue is too stretchy, you're hypermobile, and that's all well and good. You can have those things
Right.
and not suffer from them.
Right.
But when you start to have pain and injury and issues, they're like, wait a minute, this is not really benign hypermobility syndrome. It's now, we're calling it Ehlers-Danlos.
Because it is not, in fact, benign.
You're right. It is no longer benign. And so a lot of dancers, like ballet, modern dancers, a lot of gymnasts.
You want to talk about another cult like...
Oh yeah, ballet. I mean,
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think?
Those poor girls.
Baryshnikov is here.
Yeah, those poor girls. I mean, they fucking... I mean,
And they break their feet, just destroy
oh
them.
Jesus, I know.
But a
And
lot.
oh my God, you weigh 108 pounds.
Yeah,
You're fucking fat.
Yeah. But a lot of them, to be good at what they do, they have to be hypermobile.
Right.
I mean, and so while they're young and healthy, they're not diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos because they don't have problems yet, and there's no
Right.
reason to do the genetic testing and look. But then as they start to abuse their body over time and things start to break down, then they go, oh, what the fuck? So anyway...
And it kind of makes you wonder, how many of them wouldn't have developed from benign,
if they didn't,
whatever else you said, to Ehlers-Danlos if they hadn't have beat the shit out of their body on such a regular basis.
Or maybe it would have taken longer to make that development. Because I know I was very athletic coming up because I was strong. I had all those traits. I was very, and I beat the hell out of my body, and I pay for it every single day now. And I probably would have anyway, but it probably wouldn't have started when I was 26. It might have 36 before it really hit me or whatever. Anyway, but Ehlers-Danlos and hypermobility is something that's thrown around in these communities a lot because the ultimate goal is to be extremely flexible, supple, and to be able to move in ways that most humans can't. Well, so this guy, he's like doing pelvic exams. For people that,
and he's a GP. He's not a OBGYN, right?
No, he's a sportsman.
Or a sports medicine.
And I'm telling you,
which is traditionally an orthopedic surgeon,
right?
Or an orthopedist,
right? I've dislocated some fucked up shit I've dislocated ribs. I've never dislocated my tailbone, but apparently that happens a lot, he says. So he has to go inside of them digitally with his hands to reset their tailbone. It's just a way for a dirty old man to finger your little girls. And that's just all it really is. And he tried, he was so confident in what he was doing. He made videos.
Back in the early
not
90s,
of doing it to an actual, but had
instructional,
like
training,
fake instructional,
to teach the technique. And
everybody he showed that to was like, no,
we don't.
He didn't show it to anybody. He just made it.
No,
it
was
floated around out there for a long time.
He would have anatomical model, like they have in the doctor's office, and he would try to
Recess of Annie, butthole edition,
and you're like, what now?
And nobody decided to tell him that's not how that's done, fucker.
Well, they kept them so segregated.
Yeah, and like one girl, she was one of the first ones to speak up, and she was like, I thought my mom knew what he was doing. But you have to understand, these girls are not old enough to go to gynecologists, so they don't know what's normal.
Right.
They've never had sexual experiences. They've never even really got to look at a boy, So they're complete innocents.
Because a lot of times they weren't going to normal school.
No, most of them said that they were like
schooled online or homeschooled,
so that they had more time.
More time for the gym, that kind of thing.
And
they weren't used to, interacting with other people a lot.
They were just perfect. It was a perfect storm. So these girls didn't know, and this one girl goes, "He did it to me with my mom in the room."
How did she not? How did the mom not know
He used his body to block what he was doing.
With one
showed with one hand doing one thing.
Like they call it myofascial release massage. Myofascial pain is it's myofascial pain is one of the reasons I just generally hurt all over like I have the flu, because what it is it's a layer between the skin. It's a connective tissue layer between the skin and like the muscles and stuff, and it has a lot of nerve endings in it, and it can get impinged. I mean, all kinds of. And so he would say that they had myofascial pain, and he'd be over here with left hand doing a manipulation of her hip, and have
his fingers in her butthole with the other
hand
in
her vagina. So imagine I'm the doctor. My iPad is the girl's pubis, laid here. He's over here. Mom's back here.
He's blocking her
view, and this hand is fingering this little girl.
13, 14, 15, 16,
It made me uncomfortable, of course, but I thought...
Mom was there, so
it must be okay if my mom knew, because, And
he was very good at using all of these medical terms, and he talked very easy, but he threw in these medical terms so that it sounded kind of mysterious, and so he knew what he was doing, and everything was cool.
Here's the thing. If a doctor does that, and they don't also explain what they just said, there's something wrong.
Right.
Period.
And
It does not matter who the doctor is.